Hey guys, Ada here. Welcome back to Build with Ada. So today we are in Newcrest and we are building a modern starter home. Now, I will admit that in the end that this build is technically slightly over 20,000 simoleons. And that is because unfortunately I kind of had this vision with this build kind of see coming to fruition here, which is where I wanted to have kind of like a rooftop entertainment area because the sim that I envisioned living here, I believed was potentially like an entrepreneurial single lady who just is just a boss. She's just got this house and she's just like, she's an entertainer. Maybe she has hostings and what have you. And she loves that kind of corporate, modern, clean kind of vibe. So that's her home. And that's what I envisioned for this starter home. But unfortunately, when I was decorating it, and you'll see, I don't actually remember that it's meant to be a starter home. So by the time I had decorated the majority of the house, we run out of money and I don't end up, I wouldn't have been able to decorate that top roof portion, that entertainment area. And I thought, nope, I have to break the rules. It is important that that is decorated because that is like the focal part of the build. So yeah, let's get into the build. As you can see, it's coming on quite nicely. We are very much just working on the exterior of the house. So the roof is a platform. We use platforms quite a lot in this build, and this build does have a little bit of that industrial kind of flair to it. So that staircase outside is actually from the Werewolves pack, and I actually loved that kind of factory type of vibe that it gave. The wallpaper that we used is from Dine Out, and it's interesting because I had built, I think, 2 modern homes around the same time. So when I built this house, I actually had totally forgotten that there was another house that I had built that had the same wallpaper. So you will see multiple modern houses on the channel with the same wallpaper. I am sorry about that. They are very different in house and they are styled very differently, but I just love that wallpaper. There's something about the texture of it that just gives me that kind of, I don't know, kind of like artistic, but kind of a bit like, I don't know, it's kind of like, yeah, like factory vibes. Anyway, so we are doing the floor plan. Now, the floor plan for this starter home, it came about fairly easy. I was a bit constricted with space, so we don't really have like a proper living room. But as I thought a little bit more about the Sim's personality, I realized that potentially she's a workaholic and she doesn't actually have time to really sit and watch TV. So she doesn't really need a large like living room. But I did still include like a really nice upscale kitchen, and I really ran with the Dream Home Decorator pack with this and just went to town. A lot of the assets are from that pack in this build. And as you can see, I'm definitely furnishing this house with no regard to simoleons. And it's just because I just enjoyed it. I was just having so much fun. And I just feel that sometimes when I do modern homes that I care more about the appeal than the budget. So when I do a budget restricted build, it's sometimes much harder for me. I actually find them very difficult at times. All right, so in the kitchen, very clean, lots of cabinetry. Now because I've got BB.move objects on, I'm able to put that stove on top of that oven. I don't believe normally that would work. So that's how I'm able to do that. And I just went with those, I love those vertical panels. I pretty much add them to all my modern homes. They just give such an elegant piece of art. It's almost like art, but not a painting. That's how I kind of view it. So I love using those. And then in the black, it just brings in the doors, it brings in the windows. And I think that's really cool. Also, I used grey flooring. I never use a grey tone floorboard. And I actually really liked the that kind of neutral palette with pops of color. So we've got the pop of color in the kitchen with the sage, with the red flower, and I really enjoyed that. So I think the kitchen was really nice, and yeah, just a lot of alt placing. And then we move into this It's not, I don't really want to say it's a living room because it's not. It's like this little end of the end of the corridor, and it's just like a tiny living TV with those industrial loft kit chairs that have that beautiful texture. And then I saw this window seal that came part of that eco lifestyle window, and I put a plant there, and I think that that looks so beautiful. I really think that that plant makes that space, but I just think it's a wonderful idea to just alt place and do that. And I think it's an idea that I will adapt more in my build. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of a dining seating, that little bit of like a living room, you could say, a huge kitchen, and then tiny everywhere else. So yeah, just kind of using greens in different tones, with pops of reds, pops of yellows, working with those primary colors. And then I'm just into the bathroom, just trying to work out how to position it. With the tall windows with modern houses, I like to have privacy in my bathroom, so I always have to position the toilet in a place that's not uh, kind of, that people can't look in. So that's why I deleted that window. All right, so we are in the master bedroom, and I don't actually put a wardrobe, but I do put some hanging clothes. I I don't believe it's functional. I believe it's just more decorative, but I do that because there's something about it that's very modern and minimalistic, and I think that that is quite appealing to the type of you know design that we were going for. And don't worry, there's a mirror in the house, so you could still alter the Sims outfit and appearance through that. All right, so let's head outside. We are working on the landscaping. So the inside is done. Like, it's a very quick home. But the outside, again, we've gone with debug because, as you can see in the top corner, I'm at 19,079 simoleons, and I have not furnished that upstairs, that rooftop. And this was the part where I was like, oh yeah, okay, I've made a doozy there. So this is all debug. So just, this is just me opening the debug menu and just seeing what I can. We gone with some debug fencing, just because I couldn't afford an actual fence. So I thought that this would be a good, a good alternative. And this fence looked a little bit more modern than the kind of timber paneling fence that, maybe suited for more suburban or farmhouse type builds. And yeah, and I guess for me, this house doesn't really have a backyard. It's all just plants and greenery in the front and party upstairs. And that's kind of the vibe. It was like, it's, you would almost say it's like a bachelor's pad, because it kind of is. It kind of gives you that vibe. Oh, you can see that plant in that window. It just, it looks so pretty. Even from the outside looking in, I just think it's such a nice little focal point. Anyway, off on a tangent. Back to the landscaping. So these little red or pinkish flowers worked really well because it just added a little bit of color to that kind of green monochromatic look we were going for. I found these paving squares in debug, and I thought they were interesting. Instead of doing like a path, I could create this little paved area. And I think it worked out quite well. I like the little bits of grass that poke up through the cracks of the paving. It kind of just adds a bit of texture. Yes, I believe I just add an extra fence and a couple more flowers, and yeah, that's basically the landscaping. But when we go up onto the rooftop, that's where we really kind of go, okay, we've already blown the budget. We might as well just furnish it the way that we want to furnish it and kind of honor the space. I believe the final budget, the final build comes to about 22,500 simoleons. So it's not too bad. It's not too much over budget, but it's definitely over budget. Unfortunately, we weren't able to keep the starter home budget restriction, but at the end of the day, I want a nice house. Alrighty, so just placing a bin, a mailbox, and we are moving upstairs. And this was the part where I was like, yep, I'm going to have to break that 20,000 simoleon. So we're starting out with a simple little entertaining dining area. So we've got the barbecue and the sink and what have you, the countertops. And then I do section this. So we have that little place where they eat. We have some lounge chairs. We have a lot of communal seating. We have music. As you'll see, I used a lot of get together, eco lifestyle, and what have you in this build. I absolutely love these chairs. It reminds me of a candy cane, giving me Christmas vibes. I know, we're not even past Halloween yet, but I just loved that pop of red. As I said, it pulled from the red flowers that were out the front. And I know this umbrella may look out of place, but I play with seasons. So if it rains, I don't want I don't want water, wow, rain. I don't want water to damage the stereo. That's why I've got that umbrella. If you don't play with seasons, you could delete it. It does look out of place from the front of the house, but I just thought it was great. So there you have it. So that's the upstairs. So we've got that really bright, funky rug with that very vibrant chairs. And yeah, I think it worked out really well. So here's the kitchen. We're just into our tour as we do in my builds. And yeah, it's very clean, very kind of sophisticated, lots of greens, lots of blacks. And then we come upstairs and it's party. It's like pops of red and orange and warm tones. And yeah, I just really love this little house. And unfortunately, it was just over that threshold of 20K, but I still think it's a really nice house. And if you did have a little bit of simoleons and you had a sim that did fit that lifestyle and that aesthetic, and that's the kind of storyline that you wanted to go with, I think that this would be an appropriate house. And I will upload it to the gallery. It will definitely be there. The gallery ID is in the description box below. And yeah, and with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.